Hi, ParDreamin. My name is Connor Fitzpatrick. I am going to be moderating today's session. I'm excited to introduce our speaker, Debalina Bhattacharya, who will be covering 3 Interaction Studio features that marketers should look out for. Debalina is a MarTech consultant at Deloitte with expertise in cross-cloud implementations. She's worked in Pardot, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Sales Cloud, and Interaction Studio for B2B as well as for B2C clients. She's a 2020 Marketing Cloud champion, and in the past year, she's co authored articles on Marketing Cloud, marketing automation best practices, and career guidance. She's also presented at a Trailblazer community session. When she's not solving customer problems, she enjoys reading a good book or baking, and she has a penchant for languages and speaks, I think, up to 5 languages and is learning Spanish as well. So, welcome, Debalina. I'll hand the session over to you now. I do want to mention as well for everyone, you have the ability on the right to ask questions during the session. So feel free to type them in there, and then we'll try to respond to them as time allows. And Devlina, I'm going to unmute you here.
Thank you for the introduction. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Uh, yep. So today we're going to look at 3 interaction studio features that marketers should look out for. And thank you, Connor, for that introduction. Before I start the session, I just want to share a book that I recently read and would love to recommend. This is a book called Women Who Ruled India by Archana Gupta, and it's a compilation of 20 leaders, warriors, and icons, women who have changed the fate of kingdoms but are often lost in the pages of history. Um, well, let's see what do we have for you today. So, we'll start with a case study and a problem statement. We'll look at some use cases and how to solve that problem statement, and then we'll dive into how IS can help solve all of these use cases, and dive into those 3 features. We'll answer questions along the way, but also try and leave some time at the end for Q&A. Now, moving on to the case study. For today's case study, we're considering this retail company named Fictitious Basket, which has both an online and offline presence. So, they've launched in 2015, and ever since, they've grown tremendously. Uh, in the way it operates, Fictitious Basket is both a B2B and a B2C company. They use Marketing Cloud to reach out to their existing customers and use Journey Builder to build nurture campaigns. But they also use Pardot to engage with their distributors and acquire new prospects or prospective partners. To keep up with growing customer expectations and increase engagements, they've been looking to use Interaction Studio and use it along with their existing marketing ecosystem. The main challenge that they have is keeping customers engaged across all the channels to deliver a meaningful experience. Now, the problem statement that we have is unique in some ways, but in more ways than one, it is also quite common. Uh, let's take a look at how a typical customer interaction with Fictitious Basket looks right from the prospect stage till the purchase stage. Now, we have a persona here, and in case you're wondering, yes, that's me. So, uh, let's say I walk into a store, an offline store, and I view a few products, but I do not make up my mind on buying anything. But later that day, I browse through the website and I spot a few things. That's where I also notice that they are offering a 10% off if I download their mobile app and use their voucher code to make a purchase. That prompts me to go ahead and download the app, and I go ahead and make my purchase. I'm happy about my purchase, but in a few days, I have a few product related queries. So I reach out to a sales rep. So as you can see, in just one interaction, I've interacted with not just multiple touch points, but also multiple channels and multiple devices. So the key here is that all of these people or all of these channels should be speaking in the same language, so that we do not end up giving a disconnected experience to the end customer. So with that in mind, um, let's look at some of the use cases uh, that may help Fictitious Basket in bettering their customer experience. The first use case that we're looking at is a web use case. Now, web is a huge part of how Fictitious Basket does its business. A bulk of their new as well as their returning customers use their website. They also use a community portal or a partner portal to reach out to their partners and distributors and excuse me. So what they're really looking to do is drive some personalized banners instead of a static banner based on the site behavior and backend preferences. So when I say that, think of if based on how someone is interacting with the website, what content they're reading, what products they're viewing, how much time they're spending on a particular page, I would like to swap out the banner on a home page and also use that in conjunction with my preference data or data that I've collected from par.forms. So remember that they've already have this marketing system in place. They have Pardot, they have Marketing Cloud, so they have some rich data sitting there, and they would like to leverage that as well. The second use case is email. Now it's 2021, and if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that if you try to put customers into a one size fits all box, you'll end up doing more harm than good. So it's really important to look at personalization. And today, when we say personalization, it's much more than just personalizing, your name, city, and those factors, but looking at more of the smaller nuances like the user behavior and how they're interacting. So the second use case would revolve around that, how we can drive and create a personalized experience for the customer, which is caters to their preferences. The third use case that we are proposing over here is an omni-channel use case, which means that the interaction happens on one channel, but how we reach out to the customer is on another channel. So, what we're looking to do here is add a user to a journey or a nurture campaign when they sign up for a loyalty program on the site. Now, if you look at these three use cases, they are all very distinct and different. But if there is a common thread that ties all of them, then the word that would come to mind is personalization. Well, that is the key here. And today, something that a few years back would be considered a differentiator is today considered a norm. So that's how the consumer psyche has, evolved and changed in just a small, short span of time, and it's very important to keep up with it. This is where Interaction Studio fits into the picture, and it's a really powerful tool that you can use. And what it does is it places your first party cookies on your site, and using that, it listens for all the data. I'll break down this image for you in a minute, but yeah. Now we have all of these channels where consumers are interacting, and all of this different data that we can collect from there. And as we just saw in the previous example, customer interactions today happen over multiple channels. So if you want to test your marketing theories on a single channel like email marketing, that's a little easier to do. But today, in this world where we have interactions happening over multiple channels, it's really important that all your sales, service, and marketing folks are talking in the same language. Now, that is where that can be a huge challenge at times. So if you just try to recount maybe the last experience you had when you were shopping for something, and probably an experience that you didn't really like, something that stood out would be that it was not a very connected or a very consistent experience. So if I were to think of one, it would be like, I was looking for a particular thing on a site, and I was logged in, and I was looking for clothing. But after I downloaded the mobile app, my journey didn't start from there. It was being recommended some other products which I had no interest in, right? So all of this can leave a bitter taste, and this is something that we would like to avoid. And this is where Interaction Studio can really help, because not just does it identify all that behavioral data from your sites in terms of what you're interacting with, and how much time you're spending on a page, but it also can relate it back to a lot of the contextual data. So think of like a product catalog or a content catalog that you have, and it can relate these two, and based on that, what you get is a unified view of the customer. So once you have this unified view of the customer, what you can do is decision on that. So you can understand that data and use all your behavioral analytics and also advanced learning. And post that, you can do an orchestrated delivery across all your touch points that you have. So that would help to better test and ultimately improve how a customer journey is with your brand. Let's look at each of these use cases one by one now. Okay. So the first use case that we're looking at today is open time email. Now, as the name suggests, uh, what it does is it serves a personalized content and product recommendations at the time the email is opened by the recipient. So, for example, if you are sending out a shopping cart abandonment email with a block showing the products that have been left in the cart. Now, you've sent that email today, but your customer only opens it, let's say, a day later. And by that time, they've already updated the products in their cart. So the email that you're sending becomes a little less relevant. But with this feature, what you can do is send the most recent items in the cart as opposed to sending a static block of the items that were first abandoned. So, isn't that a really cool feature? And the beauty of it is that you can use it with any marketing automation tool. You can use it with Pardot. You can also use it with SFMC content builder. The content block or the block HTML code block can be generated in IS, and then you can go ahead and paste that in your emails to generate this learning driven content block that is dynamic. So you're not just serving a one is to one personalized email to your customer, but also something that is the most up to date and the most relevant. Um, Shopping cart abandonment is just one example, but you could also recommend a lot of other things. You could recommend the best selling products or your content. And again, you could use it across SFMC or Pardot. Second use case that we're looking at is an omni-channel use case. And this is a journey builder use case, which is based on real-time API. Now, for those of you who are not very familiar with Journey Builder, just know that it is a campaign planning tool. And what it allows you to do is that it enables you to design and automate nurture campaigns that you can use to guide your customer through their journey with your brand. And now Interaction Studio, what it does is that it listens through data, right, through all your different channels, and you can also use external feeds. So it keeps gathering that data and enriching it. But what it also allows you to do is build segments, and you can segment off that data. I'll just walk you through this example here. So, for instance, let's say you are using a segment where you're using a user action which says that if someone has signed up on the footer today, then add them to the segment. And once they're added to the segment, what it allows you to do is using the sync to other systems feature, you can sync this data to Marketing Cloud and then push it into a journey. Now, this journey will be an API event based journey. And once they're in this journey, you can send them a email, you can send them an SMS. So the example shown here is like a simpler, simplified example with just one email, but this could be an entire nurture campaign, a much longer one where you are re-engaging with them or sending them more emails over a period of a week or longer. Now, another example here would be like if somebody has signed up for a loyalty program, then they get added to that segment. You are segmenting of that data and then exporting it to SFMC. So all of this would happen in close to real time. And in SFMC, you can then send out a discount code to those customers. Or another example would be that if someone has shown interest in a specific category or a subcategory of products or content on your website, then you can target those users to receive an email in real time. So that was the second use case. Um, we'll move on to the third one. And
Marcos
mhm.
Duran. And Marcos asks, does this product use separate licensing?
That's a good question. Yes. So you would require separate licensing for this, uh, but you could also have it in conjunction with your SFMC Enterprise Edition.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to the third use case that we have, which is an automation studio or a file-based integration. What this would allow you to do is you can import or export data between Interaction Studio and SFMC, or also between Interaction Studio and Pardot. Now, this would require you to have an FTP setup. And once you have that, you can move files from your source system to IS, or also export them from IS to SFMC or Pardot. Now, the use case which we talked about in the beginning, which was personalizing your user experience based on backend data, right? So let's say you have a lot of open data, clicks, or email send data in SFMC, or you have preferences that you've collected from Pardot or SFMC, and you would like to leverage that in Interaction Studio when you personalize an experience. Then you can move that data into Interaction Studio and use it accordingly. Now, Interaction Studio allows you to select some identity attributes, which are like key identifiers. It could be email, it could be your contact key, lead ID, or any other IDs that you would like to use. And you can also use not just one ID, you can also use a combination of IDs. And then when you're importing data into IS, if a match is found, so the data gets updated or merged. And if it's a new record, then a new instance of that customer would be created. So similarly, you can export data out of IS into your other systems. So the example we just spoke about earlier, the journey builder use case, that was more of a real-time integration, and it has a fixed number of fields that you can export. It's just three attributes of fields, but this feature allows you more flexibility. Although it's not real-time, it is based on either a manual export, or if you want to schedule it, it could be a nightly Delta file. But what it allows you to do is it gives you more flexibility in terms of what attributes you would like to send out or what attributes you would like to bring in to Interaction Studio. These were the three use cases that we I wanted to cover today, and I hope that at least one or more of these resonated with you and you have a few takeaways from here. Um, well, today's session, in fact, was more of not more of how to do all of this, but more of where to find this and what all is possible in terms of the capabilities of IS. So, if you would like to explore how you can implement all of this, then please refer to the Interaction Studio knowledge base, and we have all the links here, which will be sent out post the session. There's also a host of other use cases that you could use, a lot of other integrations with your existing Salesforce systems or also third party applications. And yeah, I'll
Thank you
leave
so
you
much,
with this
Develina.
quote. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's all. We'll just yeah, leave some time for any questions.
Yeah, so for everyone who's in the session, feel free to type in any questions that you have in the right-hand chat bar. We did receive a question from Teresa Aranga. This was from a few minutes ago. Where are you building out segmentation in these programs?
Okay, so that's a great question. You can create your segments inside Interaction Studio, and uh, like once you navigate to your segment builder, and you can you'll have these attributes or actions that you have, user actions, and based of that you can segment your data. I hope that helps, or if you had any other specific question, then please feel free to add that as well.
We'll just give another few seconds here for anyone else that has questions or if Teresa has a follow-up at all. Awesome. Well, thank you, Debolina, for this fascinating session. If you wouldn't mind scrolling ahead to the next, the final slide here. To our attendees, thank you so much for attending. We do hope to see you in additional sessions this week at ParDreamin. And have a great Wednesday, and we will hopefully talk soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Oh, Teresa does have a follow-up. We will hold
Okay.
on for a sec.
Okay, I think she said that answered the question. Okay, I'm glad it did.
Okay. Teresa, if you do have a follow-up, I think that's what I'm getting from your message here. Feel free to type that in. All right, so she asks if emails are being sent out using the Salesforce Marketing Cloud, using Salesforce Marketing Cloud and are transactional only, does segmentation make sense?
That's a great question. So if you're sending out only transactional emails, you could still use it, I think, because you can also use Interaction Studio to say if someone has made a purchase or any of those transactional data or transactional sense, and then again use the same uh, API entry event to send out your transactional emails if you would like.
Awesome. Thank you, Debolina. Thank you, Teresa, for those questions. We hope to see you all in a few sessions for the rest of this week, and otherwise, we'll talk soon. Have a good Wednesday. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.